Hello, my name's Tim Shoebridge and welcome to this video, the subject of which is going to be the all-new Korg Volca Modular. Now this is not going to be an in-depth review. I really do believe that people who do reviews should know what they're talking about. And as far as this little box is concerned, I don't really know what I'm talking about. I've had it for a day, I've spent a couple of hours playing around with it, and what I thought I'd do with this video is to tell you what I know, which maybe won't take too long. But no, joking aside, just go through the basic features of it, play around with a few patches, and let's see what sounds we can get out of it. So I really do hope you enjoy this video. Thanks very, very much for watching. Okay, so let's take a look at the Volca Modular in terms of its front panel and what the main functions are. If we look here over on the left hand side, it's labelled source, and this is actually the oscillator section. Then pretty much in the middle, labelled functions, are actually two separate envelope generators. Then to the right of those, called dual LPG, we've got two low pass gates. So low pass gate meaning low pass filter combined with a VCA. So two separate ones. Then to the right of that, we've got, it's labelled space out. It's actually a little reverb unit, a little digital reverb. It sounds quite like a spring reverb, to be honest. Then we've got the main volume control. Down here, obviously, we've got the standard sort of Volca keyboard acting as a way of selecting functions, etc. We've got the buttons to play and record sequences. We've got buttons for recalling memory, different sequences from memory, and we've got a function button. This little section here, it looks like it's part of the low pass gates, but it's not. It's actually not labeled, and it's on its own. It's a little utility section, and it allows you to take two inputs and with a little attenuator either sum them or subtract them. We've also got up here another little utility circuit called split. It's actually a mult, so you pass one input signal and you can get two output signals, and there are two of those stacked up together. To the right, we've got a CV in, we've got sync in and out, we've got the main volume out. Over here, we've got something called woggle, which is a sample and hold circuit. And then to the left of that, we've got a clock circuit. As you can see, it's flashing away. It's affecting the speed of the sequencer, and it's also available as a set of outputs. There's a gate here, there's some clock intervals, 4 times, 3 times, 2 times, etc. And then really, I guess finally over on the left hand side here, we've got a power switch, and there is a power input, 9-volt input. I'm running it off of batteries. Okay, so let's take a look at the oscillator section, the source section. Basically what we've got here are two triangle wave oscillators. And the idea is that one of them can act as a modulator, the other one acts as a carrier signal, and we can do some FM with them. And we've got a dedicated control here for setting the amount of frequency modulation. So if I just play, if I just play a note, and then turn up this dial, you can hear FM. Now the modulating triangle wave can have its frequency changed manually using this particular dial here. And obviously we can also modulate this. So as well as FM, there's also a fold control here, and that's a wave folding algorithm. So if I play the triangle wave, we basically add harmonics to it. this, and we can have them both together. Right, so as you'd expect from a semi-modular synthesizer, as well as being able to patch it to connect the different components together, it's also normaled so that when you take it out of the box, you switch it on, you hear something. And I don't know how well you can see, but there are these faint silver lines that are joining up different components on the front panel here, and that's showing how the circuitry is normaled inside the box. So it's showing that one of the triangle waves, the output from that is going into the first low pass gate, and then the outputs from both of those low pass gates is going into the reverb unit, and then the reverb unit is then going to the output. And in terms of envelope generators, we're seeing here that the gate is coming into this first envelope generator, and the output from that envelope generator is going into the first low pass gate. So by default, normaled, we're only hearing one triangle wave, one envelope generator, and one low pass gate. If we want to hear the second oscillator, the second triangle wave, then we're going to have to patch it, and that's what I'll show you next. So basically what we need to do is take its output, and then we need to add it into the sort of like the audio output path. And what I'm going to do is use this second low pass gate, like that. But in doing so, only this low pass gate, as you'll see by the little LED here, only this low pass gate is getting triggered. This one is not getting triggered. So we need to give it a trigger. And we'll do that by taking this first envelope generator's output and passing it in as the CV to it. Now, these wires in the way, now you'll see that both of them are being triggered. So it's interesting to see that by putting this little lead in here, this connector in here, I'm not disabling the normal path. The envelope generator is still going to the first low pass gate. What we're doing is adding a second connection. That's not always the case. I was a little bit confused when I was playing around with this earlier, because sometimes this behavior doesn't break the connection and sometimes it does. But anyway, now we can hear both the triangle waves. Let's try and tune them. You'll see around the tuning control here, there's some ratios to help you. So 1:1 is they're both the same octave in tune, and then you've got 1 octave below, 2 octave belows, above, etc. And obviously they are just there as a guide. It's really quite fiddly to get the tune right. So while we're playing, let's listen to the reverb. It was actually on a little bit. That's it, totally off. And that's maximum. So very much like a spring. Alright, let's listen to the sequencer. So it's almost barely audible, and that's because my envelope generator here is basically almost off. This first envelope generator is an attack and release generator only. It's full sustain the whole time, which you noticed when I was playing it manually. But to hear it with the sequencer, I'm going to have to add a bit of release. There you go. Okay, so we've had a listen to the second oscillator as well as the second low pass gate. Let's do the same now with this second envelope generator. So as I said before, this first envelope generator is a full sustain generator. We've got control of the attack, we've got control of the release, but it's full sustain. This second envelope generator has no sustain. It's attack and decay only. And how hard or soft the attack and decay is controlled by this shape control here. So far over to the left, we've got hard attack and long decay. Hard to the right, we've got soft attack, hard decay, and obviously we've got everywhere in between. So how do we get to hear this envelope generator? Well, it's got an output at the bottom here. In fact, both of them have got positive and negative envelope at the bottom. Let's take the positive and let's put it into the low pass gate here, which otherwise is normaled to the first envelope generator. So we're overriding that by putting that cable in there. Now we don't hear anything because we need to trigger our envelope generator. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the gate out of the top here, which is normal to go into the first envelope generator, and we're going to go into our envelope generator on the right here instead. So now something, but barely anything. So as well as the shape control that specifies basically the attack and decay shape, we've also got a time control which is specifying how quickly that attack and decay are executed. So I'm going to need to turn up the time. So as you can see, when I hold down, there's no sustain. So let's move it over to the far left so we have a hard attack. Now what's interesting about the second envelope generator is because it doesn't have a sustain portion and it's got a time control as to how long it takes to go through its cycle. If we loop it onto itself, then we have basically an LFO. So let's have a look at that now. So rather than triggering it with the gate, I'm going to take this cable out and I'm going to trigger it by itself. So it will, at the end of its cycle, spit out a little control voltage, and I can take that control voltage and then use it to trigger itself. So now with this little cable in here, we've got an LFO. So we can use it to, say, modulate the fold or the mod over here. So let's try that. So we're back to using this envelope generator. We want to take the output from this LFO and we can go into, say, the fold CV, and there you go. Now we can see that this LFO is modulating the fold. Right, so while we've got this envelope generator acting as an LFO and modulating the fold, what I've done here is just to patch back in the second triangle wave using the second low pass gate, triggering it from my first envelope, and then with a little bit of detune. Okay, so one more use of this envelope here when we are looping it like an LFO. So if I loop it, so take its end trigger and use that as the start trigger, what I'm going to do is use it to create some vibrato. So what we basically need to do is take the output of that looped envelope and we need to pass it in to the pitch. But when we do that, we get the full range of this affecting the pitch, and we only want it to affect it very, very slightly. So we're going to need to use this little utility circuit here because it's got an attenuator. So basically what we need to do is come out from the LFO into B, because B is what is attenuated, and we need to mix it with the actual real pitch. So for that, if I take the CV and pass it into A. Now this is fully down. As we start to increase, excuse me, sorry. We also then need to tend to take the output of it and put it into the pitch. There we are. There you go. Speed it up. Okay, so that was a very brief look at the Korg Volca Modular. There's plenty more things that you can do with this, not just the basic patches that I just showed you. The manual's quite good. It's got a few different patching examples in it. There's 8 different patching examples, if you can see those, but clear diagrams to show you the kind of things you can do with it. So that's it for now. Maybe I'll come up with another video on it later. It looks to be like quite a little fun little device, and obviously it's highly portable, so you can take it anywhere. You just got to try not to lose all those tiny little cables. But that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Until the next time, thanks a lot.